1 minute ago. That's exactly the message Donald Trump is sending to UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer right now. And the payback, it's already hitting Britain in ways most people haven't even begun to grasp. If you're shocked by how fast the so-called special relationship collapsed, hit subscribe, because this story gets far darker, and the economic consequences are about to hit British families directly. Let's rewind to see how this all started. For years, Starmer's Labour Party didn't just criticize Trump, they waged a full-scale character assassination campaign. Sociopath, dictator, racist, pathetic little man, neo-Nazi sympathizer, threat to the international order. These weren't random Twitter rants from obscure MPs. These were deliberate, coordinated public attacks from Britain's now-ruling party, including senior cabinet ministers currently running the government. Foreign Secretary David Lammy branded Trump a woman-hating, neo-Nazi, sympathizing sociopath. And now these same people expect to be treated as trusted allies? But here's what Starmer fatally miscalculated. Trump never forgets an insult. Ever. And now he's back, the most powerful man on earth, commanding the world's largest economy and military. January 20th, 2025, Trump's second inauguration. World leaders flew in from every continent, desperate for face time with the returning president. Italy's Giorgia Meloni, front row seat, multiple photo ops. Argentina's Javier Milei, VIP treatment and private meetings. Even controversial figures got invitations. Starmer? Not even on the list. The Prime Minister of Britain, supposedly America's closest ally, completely excluded from the ceremony. This wasn't some bureaucratic mix-up. It was a calculated, public humiliation of Britain's leader on the global stage. The diplomatic equivalent of scratching someone's name off the guest list and making sure everyone saw it. The message to the world couldn't have been clearer. Britain no longer matters. Their leader insulted me, so I'm treating their entire country as irrelevant. But the inauguration snub was just Trump's opening move. The real punishment was still to come. And here's where Starmer's problems go from embarrassing to potentially criminal. Labor officials didn't just insult Trump during his campaign. They interfered directly in the American election. They sent activists to key battleground states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, going door-to-door campaigning for Kamala Harris. They even posted on LinkedIn, recruiting volunteers and offering housing for British citizens who wanted to help defeat Trump. When this became public, Trump's legal team immediately filed complaints with the Federal Election Commission, accusing Labor of illegal foreign interference in a U.S. election. They claimed the party provided unlawful foreign contributions through volunteer labor and organized support. Whether this technically violated U.S. election law is still debatable, but politically, the damage was already done. Catastrophic and permanent. Trump now sees the Labor Party not as Democratic partners, but as foreign adversaries who tried to rig his election and block his return to power. In Trump's eyes, Labor didn't just defend him, they declared war. And now he's striking back. The new battlefield? Economic warfare. Trump has already made it clear. Nations that fail to show proper respect to America will pay a heavy price. Reports suggest Britain sits right at the top of his target list. Let's break down what that means for ordinary British families. The United States remains Britain's largest trading partner, responsible for over £280 billion in annual trade. UK exports to America range from luxury cars and aerospace tech to finance and pharmaceuticals. If Trump makes good on his threats, British exports could face crippling tariffs, 25% or higher, instantly making UK products uncompetitive in the US market. Factories across the Midlands and North could vanish overnight. The pound might nosedive against the dollar, driving up costs for fuel, food, and everyday essentials. And Starmer? He's scrambling, desperately trying to get Trump on the phone, sending flurries of congratulatory notes through diplomatic back channels, practically begging for a meeting. But Trump's camp isn't answering. British diplomats report being stonewalled at international summits. The message is clear. The UK is now on Trump's blacklist. The scale of Trump's disdain became glaringly obvious with the Peter Mandelson appointment. Starmer named Mandelson Britain's new ambassador to Washington, a man who personifies everything Trump detests about the globalist elite. Mandelson represents Blair-era labor, EU integration, and cozy ties with the international establishment. To Trump's inner circle, sending Mandelson was like mailing an insult sealed in an envelope marked diplomatic credentials. Washington insiders say his name is being openly mocked among Republicans. Some of Trump's advisors have even suggested Mandelson won't be granted full access to senior U.S. officials, a shocking breach of protocol. Traditionally, the British ambassador to Washington holds one of the most prestigious diplomatic roles on Earth. Now, that position has been reduced to a symbol of Britain's isolation. And as if economic punishment and diplomatic exile weren't enough, Elon Musk has entered the fight. The world's richest man has launched a personal crusade against Starmer's government, and when Musk decides to destroy your image, he's got the firepower to do it. Using his X platform with 500 million active users, Musk is laser-focused on tearing down Labor's credibility on a global stage. Musk has zeroed in on Labor's biggest weaknesses: the grooming gang scandals, their clampdowns on free speech, and what he calls their authoritarian instincts. But Musk isn't just firing off tweets, he's taking real political action. He's openly thrown his weight behind Nigel Farage's Reform UK party, using his massive global platform to urge British voters to overthrow their own government. He's even threatening to pour huge sums of money into Reform UK, funding that could reshape British politics overnight. Think about that for a second. A foreign billionaire now openly intervening in Britain's political system, and large portions of the British public are actually cheering him on. Why? Because they see Musk as defending traditional British values that their current government abandoned long ago. The contrast couldn't be more humiliating for Starmer. While Britain's elected Prime Minister was frozen out of Trump's inauguration, guess who got the royal treatment? Nigel Farage, a man with no government position whatsoever, was escorted around Trump's inauguration events like visiting royalty. Trump called him spectacular and highly respected in front of the world, even crediting him with political inspiration, saying, "I think he watched my speeches in the European Parliament for many years before deciding to run. I know that to be true." True or not, the signal was unmistakable. Trump views Farage as a legitimate political leader and Starmer as irrelevant. The optics are devastating. Trump publicly prefers Britain's opposition leader over its actual prime minister. Now Farage is painting himself as the only British politician capable of restoring this special relationship, and Trump's actions suggest he agrees. Inside Westminster, panic is spreading. Behind closed doors, Labour MPs are having brutal conversations, each more desperate than the last. Senior figures are whispering the question no one wants to say aloud. Is keeping Starmer worth destroying Britain's relationship with America for the next 4 years? The cold math looks grim. Trump has 4 full years to punish Britain economically, 4 years to cut them out of critical trade negotiations, 4 years to forge new alliances while freezing Britain out. Sources close to Labour suggest leadership challenges are already being floated. Names like Wes Streeting and Angela Rayner are circulating as potential replacements who might mend relations with Washington. The argument is simple. Starmer has become politically toxic to Britain's national interests. But even replacing him might not be enough. Trump's grudges are legendary, and his memory is long. He may see any Labour figure as stained by the same party that once dared to insult him. Trump believes Labour didn't just insult him, they interfered in his election. And that brings us to the issue making Starmer's position even more unstable: his government's suspicious closeness to China. While Trump is uniting a global alliance to contain Chinese influence, Starmer's administration has kept notably warm relations with Beijing. Labour has consistently avoided taking hard positions on Hong Kong, Taiwan, or the Uyghur human rights crisis. They've sidestepped several U.S.-led efforts to restrict Chinese tech companies and continue trade partnerships that Trump views as strategically reckless. To Trump's inner circle, this makes Starmer not just irrelevant, but a potential threat to American interests. Why would Washington share sensitive intelligence or defense technology with a government Beijing could influence? This creates a dangerous cycle. The more Trump isolates Britain, the more London may turn toward China for economic alternatives. But the closer Britain moves to China, the deeper Trump's distrust grows. Inside diplomatic circles, people are now openly debating what was once unthinkable, forcing Starmer out to protect Britain's international standing. That argument gains traction by the week. Every day Starmer stays in power, Britain's relationship with Trump's America deteriorates further. Each snub, each missed meeting, every new trade threat, it all chips away at Britain's global credibility. And the rest of the world is taking notes, quietly recalibrating their own relations with London. The potential economic fallout is catastrophic. If Trump enforces sweeping trade restrictions, Britain could plunge into a recession worse than 2008. Manufacturing hubs across the Midlands, aerospace industries in the Southwest, and financial sectors in London could see unprecedented job losses. Some Labour MPs are now facing a brutal question. Is it worth protecting one man's leadership if it means sacrificing the livelihoods of millions of British workers? Because what's happening here isn't just a personal clash between two political leaders, it's a seismic shift in global power. It threatens to permanently shrink Britain's influence on the world stage. For 8 decades, Britain has punched far above its weight, politically, diplomatically, and militarily, because of its special relationship with America. British prime ministers could always pick up the phone and reach the US president directly. That privilege made Britain a global player. But if that bond is permanently broken, Britain faces a sobering future, no longer a global heavyweight, but just another mid-sized European nation with fading leverage. Other countries have already begun adjusting their approach. Why prioritize Britain if Washington no longer values its input? Why include London in major negotiations if America itself doesn't respect its leadership?